The abundance of gratitude. In a small, humble village nestled among green hills, there lived a poor man named Ian. His home was a simple one-room cottage made of stone, with a thatched roof that creaked in the wind. He had no wealth, no grand possessions, and often struggled to put food on the table. Yet, despite his hardships, Ian was known throughout the village for his boundless joy and grateful heart. Every day, he would greet his neighbors with a warm smile and a kind word, always expressing gratitude for the smallest blessings, even in the toughest of times. Ian's meals were simple, sometimes just a small bowl of rice or a piece of bread with a few vegetables, but he never complained. He believed that even the simplest food was a gift, and he always ate with appreciation, savoring every bite as if it were the finest feast. One day, a wealthy merchant named Rajiv came to the village. Rajiv was known far and wide for his great fortune, and he was used to a life of luxury, rich foods, grand banquets, and opulent surroundings. He had heard of Ian's reputation and decided to visit him, curious to see how someone so poor could live so contentedly. When Rajiv arrived at Ian's cottage, he was struck by the simplicity of it. The small room was sparsely furnished with a worn wooden chair and a simple wooden table. Ian was sitting by the fire, stirring a pot of soup. The aroma of the soup was humble, but there was a warmth in the air that made the place feel peaceful. "Good day, Ian," Rajiv said, stepping inside with a polite smile. "I've heard much about your generosity and contentment, and I must say, I'm quite curious. How is it that you live so simply, and yet seem so happy? Surely, you must long for more food, more wealth, more comforts." Ian looked up from the pot and smiled warmly. "Greetings, Rajiv. I have everything I need, and I am grateful for it all. What we have is not always what we desire, but it is always enough if we choose to appreciate it." Rajiv raised an eyebrow. "But how can that be? You eat so little. This humble meal," he said, gesturing to the pot of soup, "can hardly compare to the banquets I host. Don't you ever wish for something more?" Ian paused and set down the spoon. "More, perhaps, but even this simple meal, I cherish. It's not the size or richness of what we eat, but the gratitude we bring to it. Let me show you." With that, Ian invited Rajiv to sit at the table. He ladled the soup into 2 bowls, adding a piece of bread to each. Then, he placed the bowls before them and bowed his head in thanks. "Let us take a moment to appreciate this meal," Ian said quietly. "Though it is simple, it sustains us. It brings us warmth, and it nourishes us. This, too, is a gift. When we approach life with gratitude, even the smallest meal feels like a feast." Rajiv looked at his bowl, then at Ian. His brow furrowed as he thought about the lavish meals he had consumed in his own life, feasts fit for kings, yet filled with little more than fleeting pleasure. He hadn't truly tasted the food, but had only sought to consume more, always wanting the next dish, the next indulgence. Taking a deep breath, Rajiv followed Ian's lead. He closed his eyes for a moment, focused on the warmth of the soup, the comfort it provided, and the simple joy of sharing it with someone else. He then took a spoonful and tasted it, not with the usual rush, but with mindfulness. The soup, though simple, seemed to fill him in a way that no extravagant meal ever had. It was as if the gratitude Ian had shown transformed the humble meal into something rich and satisfying. Rajiv felt a deep sense of contentment settle in his chest, a feeling he hadn't known before. This tastes different," Rajiv murmured, his eyes widening. "How is it that such a simple meal can feel so fulfilling?" Ian smiled gently. "It is the gratitude that makes it abundant. When we appreciate what we have, it expands. A simple meal becomes a feast when we are thankful for the nourishment it provides. The richness of life comes not from what we possess, but from how we choose to experience and honor what we have." Rajiv sat back, pondering the words. He had always believed that happiness was tied to material wealth, that more was the key to satisfaction. But here, in the humble cottage of a poor man, he had discovered something deeper, something far more valuable. The conversation lingered in Rajiv's mind as the sun began to set. He realized that he had spent so much of his life chasing after wealth and luxury, seeking fulfillment in things that could never truly satisfy his heart. He had overlooked the simple blessings that were already around him, his health, his family, the beauty of nature, and the warmth of companionship. That night, as Rajiv returned to his lavish home, he carried with him a new understanding. He had not gained wealth or possessions from Ian, but something far more precious, the awareness that contentment and abundance come from within. He no longer sought more to fill the emptiness he had once felt. Instead, he began to cultivate gratitude for the life he already had, knowing that even the simplest meal, when met with appreciation, could feel like a feast. From that day forward, Rajiv found joy in the small things, each meal, each breath, each moment. He shared his newfound wisdom with others, teaching them that true abundance is not measured by the wealth we accumulate, but by the gratitude we express for what we already have. And Ian, the poor man with a heart full of gratitude, continued to live his life as he always had, content and fulfilled, knowing that the abundance of life is found not in possessions, but in the simple joy of appreciation. Thanks for watching. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to give it a like, share it with others who might benefit, and subscribe to the channel for more valuable content like this. Hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. See you in the next video.